Hey everyone, I'm back with an updated item guide to help those who may be confused about what items to build during the game. I know the guide can be a bit confusing at first, but I'll try to explain it as much as I can. So we have some popular compositions on the left. You see we have assassins, mages, knights, warriors, goblins, feathered, and hunters. And above we have three categories. The first one is helpful early game. These are the items I feel can really help you in the early game, either maintain a win streak or just prevent you from taking a lot of damage. The second category is late game win conditions. These are the items that if you're able to stack on a proper carry unit, you're more likely to perform well in the game. The last category is counter play. These are the items that help counter the compositions on the left. So let's just start in the upper left corner and move from left to right. For assassins, you usually want to stack your Abyssal Crawler as a carry. Shadow Edge and Maelstrom are great for early game pressure and can transition into powerful late game items like Axe of Fury and Mjolnir. Shadow Crawler can also work as a carry if you're not seeing Abyssal Crawlers. The counter play to assassins is definitely Halberd of Judgment for the disarm. That way their main carry isn't just critting you to death at the start of the fight. Also, Monkey King Kane can be helpful in helping reduce that healing that Abyssal Crawler does. Moving on to mages. So in the early game, the main items you want to see is just mana items. Either you want to see a Magicka Crystal or a Pole Staff is even better. Late game, Orb of Refresh, Voodoo Staff, and even Pole Staff level 2 are all items you want to be on the lookout for on what you want to combine. Orb of Refresh on a Storm Shaman or a Dark Spirit are good win cons when playing Mage. For items that counter Mage, Python Wand and Claw Wand are the main ways to counter it, but all the other items listed in the category can be very helpful when playing against Mages. For Knights, if you see an early Hell Knight upgrade, you can stack it with a Shadow Edge or an early Steel Plate Mail. If you get an early Lightblade Knight, you want to stack it with a Frantic Mass or a Maelstrom. Depending on which 3-star you're more likely to hit between Hell Knight and Lightblade Knight determines which win con items you want to go for. Barbaric Cuirass and Axe of Fury for Hell Knight, and Infused Mass and Mjolnir for Lightblade Knight. Some good counter items against Knights would be the new Ice Armor. Knight Shields do not prevent pure damage, so now that the Ice Armor does do pure damage, it really helps damage down those Knights. Same applies to the pure damage in Axe of Fury. Both Infused Mass and Barbaric Cuirass does give you armor reduction, so it can be helpful when going up against Knights. Now for Warriors, they actually have a pretty similar itemization as Knights. They work well with an early Shadow Edge or Steel Plate Mail to keep them tanky. Good targets for Shadow Edge early can be Abyssal Guard and can later move it to either a Doom or a Row Guard. If you see an early Berserker, you can add a Frantic Mass on him. Win condition items for Warriors are pretty much the same as Knights. You just want some armor reduction and some high heavy damage items. These late game items work best on units like Doom, Row Guard, or even Berserker. You want to counter Warriors with Armor Shred, since Warriors just give you armor, so items like Barbaric Cuirass and Infused Mass do a great job when facing up against Warriors. When playing Goblins, Shadow Edge can actually help you early on an upgraded Ripper or Skybreaker. Also, if you hit a Heaven Bomber upgrade, a Pole Staff can definitely help you. Goblins is one of those builds that don't need the best of items to perform well, but if you do hit the included late game items, it can definitely help. The carries you'll normally want to stack when playing Goblins is either usually a Ripper if you can 3-star it, Venomancer, or Devastator if you can stack enough skill damage on them. The main item to counter Goblins right now would be Monkey King Kane because it reduces HP regeneration. That way it stops the Goblins from healing for a little bit, and hopefully your team can burst them down within that time. Feathered can be played differently depending if you're thinking about going hunters or assassins. An early Shadow Edge or Frantic Mask can work well on an upgraded Taboo Witcher. Late game, depending on what type of feathered you're going, you want to stack your items on either Taboo Witcher 3-star, Abyssal Crawler, Shadow Crawler, Dwarf Sniper, or Aegis' Ranger. The main counter to feathered is Monkey King Kang, as it prevents a unit equipped with it from missing attacks, and the big thing about feathered is making your opponents miss, so if you have an item that you can't miss, it's definitely good against feathered. And for our last comp, Hunters. An early Frantic Mask or Maelstrom works great on an upgraded Aegis' Ranger or Dwarf Sniper. Late game, if you can get a Barbaric Cuirass on your front line, it definitely helps, as the AoE armor shred on your front line really benefits your hunters when trying to shred down the enemy. Depending on the type of hunter you're playing, your main carry would usually be Aegis' Ranger or Dwarf Sniper. There really is no main item to counter hunters at the moment, but however the Judgment can help prevent their strongest hunter from outputting damage for a little bit in the beginning of the fight. So that is it for my guide on the most up-to-date items in the game. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you just want to take a closer look at the guide, I'll have it in my Discord with a link available in the description. I hope this helps you better understand items, and don't forget to subscribe for more auto chess videos. See you all next time.